Hey, Jeff. I'm excited today. We're talking about one of your favorite subjects, which is creativity. And so, I think especially in a business context, it's so important to make some space for that, because a lot of business owners that we talk to, they really value creativity and they want to be more innovative and have space for that, but are not really sure on quite how to tackle that or approach that. And so we came across this article in the Harvard Business Review. It's called The Three Fallacies Around Creativity. And I found that to be really interesting, and I'm wondering what your take on it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely speaking my language. Creativity is a big part of what I love to do in business, and love cultivating and helping creativity when our clients work, or really anyone who needs it. When they poll and they look around, they find that business leaders cite creativity and innovation among the top metrics for success within their company. But a lot of those same business leaders will say that they don't know how to activate it or innovate it within the system, right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. I could talk about it a lot, but what I love about this article is it helps focus. And they provided really three common fallacies that are really getting in the way. The first one is really this idea of what they call the productivity illusion. We see this especially in cultures that are really fast-paced, a lot of creative agency cultures where people are throwing ideas around. And the idea is that a good idea catches fire and we run with it. And so people who are able to move quickly and to make quick decision-making is often mistaken for being a creative input, right? But often in the creative flow of a person and how they work, that quickness is actually getting in the way of deeper, more innovative thoughts, more mindsets, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're ending the problem too early, or ending the song too early before it has a moment to really crescendo and take you someplace new and wonderful.
Yeah, I really resonate with that, especially around like efficiency and things like that. It seems like that is really tying into the same type of nerve here, and where we want kind of have the cake and eat it too in some ways, and not being able to shift enough. What are some other things that they pointed out?
Yeah, another one is this concept of like the intelligence illusion. When they've done studies, they've found that when people provide negative criticism and negative feedback, they're actually perceived as more intelligent and thoughtful. But that's actually an illusion. And in a lot of creative environments, especially in business, what you find is criticism is easier to activate than innovation, right?
Absolutely.
So when we start throwing an idea around, what people tend to do is center around the problem. Right. Like, well, the problem is this. And then when ideas come forward, it's really tempting to say that can't work because of X, Y, and Z, right? And so, and in most business structures, the people who do that are typically listened to. They're perceived as an intelligent voice in the room. And so, to get around that, you really have to try to renegotiate how people engage in that kind of behavior, because you're trying to get away from things right? Like when you say that can't work, you're just camping out on something How do we get into places where we haven't been? How do we get into an innovative state of newness? You got to get past all the stuff that comes up first and get into something more meaningful. So being overly critical, especially at the onset of a creative development, it can be really, really detrimental to innovation.
Yeah, and I can see that being really tricky for business owners, because often they started their business because they saw a lack of something, or they're trying to solve a problem. So they are really adept at identifying gaps. Yep. At least the ones that we work with, I think we see that a lot. And that's a really great trait. So it's probably hard to kind of shift from that mode. That is really helpful. And then also, it's like the yes and proposition. Right.
One idea that a lot of people like a lot is this idea of plussing, which is kind of the antidote to being overly critical, that instead of jumping into the conversation with a critical remark, you have to say, if you do offer criticism, you have to offer a solution. So you plus it. Like, that won't work unless we do this. Or, that wouldn't work unless we consider this other thing. And so you're already engaging in a new kind of thinking and mindset.
Right. You're opening doors instead of closing them.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's the third one, the third fallacy?
Third fallacy is one of my favorites because it's such a heavy part of every business culture, and that's the brainstorming illusion.
Oh, yeah.
We lean on brainstorm, especially in the creative spaces, or business thinking. Bring people together, solve the problem. Seems like it makes a lot of sense. We get out our pens and our sticky notes, and we're going to solve this thing.
Yeah.
There's many, many reasons why this idea breaks down. I mean, the most obvious things are that the loudest voices are the ones that get heard.
Yeah, it's not very equitable. Yeah,
it's not very equitable. A lot of people who don't feel seen or safe, they won't come forward with their ideas. If there's someone with a loud voice, I'm a loud voice, they can dominate if they have a lot of fire behind their idea.
Yeah.
And then the ideas themselves fall into this fallacy around what we're feeling. The reason we gravitate towards brainstorming is because social interaction makes us feel good.
Right.
And we mistake that feeling good for having an innovative thought.
Gotcha.
But in fact, that good feeling of connection usually is around something we both know, and that's why we're excited about it. We have like a unified feeling about it. So it's still stopping us short of getting into the big, pie in the sky thinking or a broader subject.
Yeah. What are some of the things that a small business owner can take away, or maybe what have you seen clients do to kind of circumvent these fallacies, or one of them?
Yeah, I mean, one of the blessings of what we do is we often work with customers who, their business is like a value shop where problem solving, creative, activity are a part of the work.
Yeah.
But for any business that's interested in doing that, I think the most important thing is making space and being intentional.
Yes.
Creativity doesn't always happen in a random environment. So making it a place where you can actually bring new ideas to the table without fear of it being shot down, overly criticized, giving things time to mature. I think that's a big one. We often don't reach for creativity until we're in some kind of a panic mode. So, giving something some space and some time to grow and become what it needs to be. And then, when you think about something like a brainstorm, if you actually want to invigorate creativity from the people involved, brief them ahead of time, right? Give people, if you got 5 people who are participating, let them know what they're going to get into. Here's what we're going to talk about. Here are the problems. Think about it. And then when you come together, it's more about giving everyone ample time to share what they had discovered. And every study that we found has shown that actually produces a larger number and a more creative number of ideas for you to work with versus just popcorn, throwing things around in the room.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff, for sharing. I'm excited to see more creativity in business.
Oh, me too. Thanks for tuning in to Business Remastered. Make sure to subscribe wherever you watch and listen to podcasts.
If you want to know more about Kinesis and the work we do, find us on kinesis.team or on LinkedIn.